welcome back to the TB&J podcast. We're back.
We survived.
Oh my God, we're back. It's been a while.
We were locked in a dungeon.
I wasn't.
We couldn't podcast.
Yeah, no, I got married. It took up a lot of my time, so there was no podcast for like a month and a half. I got married, yeah. So that happened.
You told us not to talk about it.
It was great. We'll talk about I don't want to talk about like in depth, but like, you know, we were out for a while. I got married. It happened. Let's move on. We're going to talk about something even cooler than that, right? Invincible.
Invincible.
TB&J. Allegedly, he is.
Invincible.
I like that. I was about to say, I like that you
No.
didn't say it.
Yeah,
I get where you're going. I know. I got it. No, shut up. Hey, shut up.
You know, I was really worried we'd forget how to do this.
We don't know how to do this. No, that was planned over talking.
Yeah.
So, everybody, the rules are everything gets a thumbs up or a thumbs down when we first start because that's the rules of the internet. There's all black and whites. There's no shades of gray. So,
you're Jeff. I'm Troy. He's D, by the way.
oh, yeah, I'm Jeff. You're Troy.
Totally forgot how to do it.
D's here. If you don't know our names by now, what the fuck are you doing?
We didn't do an episode. Hold on. This is actually the worst time you can say that. We didn't do an episode for like fucking forever.
Yeah.
You probably
can't
remind people who we
possibly
are.
say that.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
Troy, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm thumbs up.
D.
That's thumbs up.
I'm also thumbs up. Why? Because it's fucking amazing. The Invincible is one of the best comic adaptations I've ever seen.
Man.
Movies, TV shows, everything.
It's really faithful.
It's very faithful. It does take some different directions from the original source material.
I don't remember them.
I don't remember them either. I remember as a teenager, I read some of Invincible, not all of it. But I do remember enjoying what I read. I just stopped reading it because I just didn't have the money or ability to go to the comic shop and pick up the rest
I
of
don't
them.
read. It's for nerds. It's for fucking losers and dweebs.
Dweebs.
So this episode,
Dweebs and dorks.
was anyone taken off guard by the like super dark opening of just the alternate reality Invincible teaming up with Omni-Man? Now, D apparently saw that coming. Troy, how'd you feel about it?
I don't know if I saw it coming, but I think like second one, basically as soon as Omni-Man appears, I'm like, okay, I know what's going on here.
Like something's screwy. This is a dream.
It wasn't even like something screwy. I was just sort of like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing right now. Like I don't think that I was really like, I never gave a fucking like double take to the screen. I think.
Right. What did you feel about what's his name? The new bad guy.
Yeah, what is his name? This is
Angstrom.
Angstrom Levy, or is that?
I believe it's Angstrom Levi. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was
Angstrom Levy. Yeah.
Angstrom Levy is a great character. I can't like.
Does he not say Levi? I could be wrong. I'm not trying to cut you off.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I just always read it as
doesn't
Levy.
matter.
It's Levy, I think, though.
Yep.
So
Levy.
anyway, so he is a Kang, analog.
Mm-hmm.
And just
very
done
obviously
so more like they take all of these archetypes in this show, and this is what drew me to the show or the comic initially. Like I was obviously like we've talked at length. Go watch the back episodes of the first season, but we talked all about like how this started with 7 issues in is before you even find out Omni-Man, and they just ramp everything up, and it's so well condensed, and like I remember these scenes, but like I didn't even finish Invincible. I think I have I generally know how an ending goes, but I do not know how they get there, and I know that like everything is so well immersed in moral complexity. And this episode is a shining example of that shit. And I remember this one too, kind of like this is when you start like getting into like what Invincible is. It's beyond like that opening story of kind of dealing with like now it's him dealing with the aftermath of this. Everyone knows about the dad. It's all out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Do
difference
they know?
of it's really a difference between like season 1 Walking Dead and the rest of or like the first book of Walking Dead and the rest of the books of Walking Dead. And like
First book of Walking Dead is mwah.
it's great, but like some of the best ones are way later, like all like tons later. Like some of the best ones don't get to like book issue 50, 100. Like some of the second and third books are great. The fourth one's a little like slower. I always felt like volumes. Either way, we're getting off track. But the point
and then
is
you said
that
the
like,
show stuck the landing the best, so just like the.
No, well, I think this is. I think Robert Kirkman is, from what I've seen, a really obviously talented guy.
Obviously,
but I think he I don't know what his connection was with the show and how that all played out. But like, kudos to him for not making a stink about what he. I just think he knew that, like, as good as The Walking Dead was, it wasn't the best shit that he's written. And Invincible very well might be. And it is so fucking good. And these characters are just, like, they're such perfect developments of all those analogs. Like, Angston Levy is just a fucking... And the actor playing him is the guy, he was in Black Panther. He was Killmonger's father, technically. He's in the flashbacks.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And he's in Supernatural. He was great in that. That's where I first saw him. And he's in like a ton of other stuff. Like people like, I don't recall his name. He's fucking scary. He's a scary man. He's just this like charismatic, like like all the character he plays, and he's perfect for this. I think I always read. Angston Levy is a little more pathetic than I feel like his energy is, but I think it works on screen.
Sure.
Though when I imagine him as an actual actor, I'm like, but like this, I'm like, even though it sounds the same, I'm just like, okay, with this, mannerism is good. But
yeah, he's a little
insane
like
character.
In this, he seems very sort of almost morally high, knows where every protest in the city is gonna be kind of guy.
Yeah. Now, you had said everybody knows about the dad. I think when the bully hugs Mark in the beginning of this episode, he says, "I'm sorry your dad got blown up in that house." So is that like the official cover story for Mr. Grayson, the author who is rich and famous?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just, I mean, a lot of people died in the whole thing, so.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure if like Omni-Man being him, Grayson, was like a big Nolan Grayson was like a big thing.
No,
I don't remember.
No,
that.
they don't reveal that. They don't.
Okay.
Because as far as I understand, they think Omni-Man just left, or is that he beat him or he stopped his
Which is
attack.
weird because he doesn't wear a mask. You'd think you'd be able to put two and two together.
Yeah,
I mean that's
amazing.
superheroes.
Yeah, I guess you got a point.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. But either way.
But, okay, so Mark is still living a secret identity. Nobody knows that Nolan Grayson was Omni-Man, and he wasn't Invincible's dad. That's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that was clear. Because they don't really like establish that he has a secret identity. He just lives the two lives. And it's not really like one impedes the other necessarily.
I mean, it's so funny that he doesn't wear a mask when everybody else does. But, like, I feel like they lost the perfect opportunity for like a fake mustache.
Oh yeah.
Like I wonder if that was
he just puts on a fake mustache as Omni-Man.
like I wonder if he originally had him as like without the mustache and like only Nolan had the mustache and then he was like no you know what
it's actually
it's a whole race of mustachioed men.
I was gonna say it's actually
it's a race of super Italians.
It's actually in J.K. Simmons' contract that he has to have a mustache in every role, animated or not.
Oh yeah, that's why J.K. Simmons has that mustache.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, all right, so
I was gonna.
Do we want to?
When you were talking about analog,
no one's gonna listen to this podcast.
I was gonna say with you were talking about analogs and stuff like that. The one thing I didn't really notice necessarily with the first season and started to with this one is it's obviously kind of analog-y a little bit, but it's not like super like on the nose deconstructionist type of stuff.
Yeah, they don't do the same.
This is it. You can definitely watch this without watching anything that it's kind of homaging back to pretty easily.
I don't think that he homage. This is what I think is different. He doesn't rehash old stories from other products, but he does tell original stories with analog characters to the. So like, what if Iron Man was just? The twist he makes at the central to the character is its own beauty, and oftentimes kind of more interesting of a take on the character than you could ever really do with the true character. You can't just like take the character and twist. It's a totally different twist. Usually, oftentimes, they're kind of combinations of other characters too. So like, like I think Invincible himself is supposed to be kind of a combination of Superman, Nightwing, and Spider-Man. Like he's supposed, and that's like, pretty perfect, analog. And I think in the end, what it does is it tells a better Superman story. Yeah, like it tells a better story of like what to do if you're if you are the most like powerful being in the universe. How do you use brute strength to make change? And that's like the literal questions that the story deals with, that like Ang Lee is dealing with right now. Like the whole moral complexity of like him doing like. Him having these right intentions, but obviously having megalomaniac like tendency. Like he's the one who has to have all the control. He's gathering these other guys kind of haphazardly and kind of using them willy-nilly to his plans. He's kind of willing to get some more, but doesn't want to have his utopia born in blood. And it's like, all right, I guess like so that makes him like really complex, because he's much more like a real person that's like not ultimately driven by and this I think is the true heart of what Kirkman's characters, why they feel real. Yeah, is that he makes the characters consistent enough to be characters that like you can use even as comic characters that are consistently have a value system and work over time. But also, they're real, and like when he says like I won't have it born in blood, like he's both wanting this power for himself and but also thinks of himself as good and doesn't want to do certain things to that end. And those complexities kind of lead him down this like ruined path. Like now, I actually missed the tag. I think at this, does he like
what, the little Amazon X-ray thing you're talking about?
No. At the end of it does. How does this end with him?
Oh shit. With Angstrom, he declares revenge on Invincible for turning him into a freak.
Yeah, and that's the time that they actually do the logo.
Yeah, but that's at the very. That's a tag, isn't it? At the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed it.
Okay.
I'm saying I know what happened, but like, I didn't see what he looked like.
I
didn't say how they project. I know how they project him in the comics.
Yeah,
and I'm sure it's similar, but like
it's like massive brain wrinkles under his skin, but all up in his head and down his back. Like it looks like a crazy like Native American headpiece, but made of brain cells under his skin. That's right. And like at the very top of his head, it's like starting to split open. You see some pink.
Now, I actually think that if I'm remembering correctly, and this is beautiful if this is true, because I think it must be. Like everything was slower in the comic, so yeah, I think that whole backstory of him gathering the multiple, like being like all those things, was told like slowly through like a lot of books. Like so I remember like when he turned into this, that was like it wasn't like my introduction to the character. It was, holy shit, like he's really fucked up now. Yeah. Like, but I had known this character as this guy for forever, and like he was kind of like leveling up in various ways. I think always coming from a world that was destroyed by Omni-Man and Invincible, and just always just kind of building this up. And then like he was also trying to be, I feel like it was more born from antagonism with them than it was the building of Utopia. And I think that like the Utopia thing was like his retaliation, like that became his plan, because now Mark was working to that end. Like, so, I think they're mixing things, but I can't remember, honestly. It all mixes together. I'm
It
just
could be.
enjoying this ride.
I have heard a couple of diehards on Reddit be like, "Oh, they're taking some liberties," but nobody's mad at the direction they're taking. The season 2 opened to a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Like, this is widely beloved as a television show, and it hasn't skipped a beat so far in the first episode of season 2. Even if they are taking liberties or whatnot, nobody seems to mind. Everything's going really fucking well.
What else sticks out?
Was anyone else to see the fucking Immortal come back again? Like,
Nah.
I get that he's the Immortal, but like, can he not stay dead? Does he have to keep coming
It's
back?
kind of the thing.
I mean, yeah, maybe that's the bit. Like fucking Kenny in South Park, he just keeps coming back each time.
Yeah.
But it was really, really almost bizarre to see him show back up again. And now he's the new leader of the Guardians, or I guess because he was the leader, and then they all died. And then they made the new Guardians with Robot in charge, and then Robot got demoted, and now Immortal's in charge again.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that I'm following correctly. Yeah,
You're following correctly.
Is he just fly super strong kind of guy? He doesn't have like powers
he's
much
immortal.
beyond that. Well,
That's the big one.
He was president.
He was.
that's right. He was Lincoln.
Yep.
I forgot about that. And he went on to fight in the Crusades,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a Celtic warrior for hundreds of years.
I don't. They get into his past and stuff like. But he's a cool guy. I like his character.
He's not terrible. I don't.
love
He seems like crazy suspicious of Mark for like no real reason. Mark's never
What are you
given a
talking
reason
about?
to doubt him.
I mean, his
At the end of the
his dad
episode.
killed
You don't buy that. You don't buy like he's dad killed him twice.
and
He's
also
from
Yeah, I get that, but like,
also he is now the leader again of this new Guardians team, and also there is a side character. Who's the guy who runs the Cecil?
Cecil runs the GDA.
Cecil has a, sort of a side guy, a side Superman guy who's also going around doing his own thing, who has all of the exact same powers as the guy who killed him and all of his friends, and also is the guy's son.
Yeah.
You know what? When you put it that way,
Yeah.
I kind of get it.
You're lacking empathy on there.
But like, maybe I'm lacking empathy.
I mean,
What else stuck out to you? Because I don't know. I mean, God, this is hardly something you're harping on, right?
I felt personally, it felt like they didn't need to make Immortal that skeptical of Invincible. When, first of all, he's doing his best to prove to Cecil he wants to be on the good side, which maybe that could be construed one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean,
His dad also beat the shit out of him and almost killed him before leaving.
I think he's just being cautious, and with even Cecil kind of coming over, he might feel just like, well, fuck, dude, like this is exactly what fucking happened. Like I'm not taking my eye off him, and he's letting him know, because like, and you know what, perfectly fine.
You're right. I changed my mind.
What else stood out to you guys?
The Guardians are crazy inefficient. They are really fucking bad at taking things down.
Yeah.
When they're functioning as a team, I don't think a bunch of like teenagers, barely 20-year-olds, was the best replacement for a bunch of grown adults as the Guardians. That may have been a weird choice from Cecil's part. I feel like
Well, it wasn't. It was robots, because he basically got the
that's
teen
true.
team and made them.
Yeah, that's true. It was
the
Robot's
Guardians,
decision
but-
because Robot got put in charge.
But I mean, I didn't know who else you go to. I liked Rex Explode's kind of growth that he's going through.
yeah, he seems to be less of like an outright jackass and more of just like the snarky guy on the team.
Yeah.
Because he was very nice to Mark after Mark had gotten blown up and destroyed by Maulers, and he barely had his fucking scratch on him. Just had a couple like black eyes and some bruising on his face that was gone almost in the next scene.
I am all about the fact that they started this with it's like the most obvious joke, but I do like the bit of they keep pausing and then saying Invincible and not doing title cards until the very end.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great bit. It's a great bit. I wish I thought of it.
I do like we talked a little bit about the alternate universe intro, but the I mean we everybody's seen sort of the Days of Futures Past style kind of dark future thing,
Right.
I think that this is kind of one of the better scenes of that.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of Days of Future Past X-Men movie. Their depiction of it. So it even down to who's Starlight or whatever I don't know what her name is. She has Jean Grey.
Yeah.
What's his girl's name?
Adam Eve.
Adam Eve. Eve has a shaved head. Like, well, obviously she's a Phoenix analog, but she's also like throwing her stuff around like Blink from that scene where like she's kind of so it's all done the same. The big striking scene obviously is the neck snap is a good.
I didn't kill her. I just paralyzed her.
He's like, oh, is that what you were practicing for those years?
Yeah, they're very
As we were
very
practicing
nonchalant.
on those civilians.
They're very nonchalant.
I don't know what
about
you were
it.
doing, Mark.
Jesus Christ!
And then they land, and he just
think,
goes,
Mark, think.
and then he goes down to all the protesters, and they're just like, well, we have to kill you all.
Yeah, I'm just like, all right, well, this is weird.
Mm-hmm. It's but yeah, but like he's like, oh, no, I can visit, you know. But like, no, I that is I think a direct callback to kind of like, no, they're pets.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. They're pets because we're gonna outlive all of them, so we will just enjoy them while they're here, and then
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's that stuck out the whole, but it was good with that.
Do you think we're gonna get more dimensional shit with Angstrom?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't introduce that concept. And they just wash it away.
Also, that's the whole ending of the.
I mean, yeah, like there's absolutely. What do you mean the whole ending? Like
Of the episode, I mean.
Okay.
Is he
I meant there's definitely various like Angstrom. What
Angstrom.
Yeah, Angstrom. Okay, Angstrom is a kind of recurring villain. So like, don't expect him to be gone anytime soon. I don't think, because also there's infinite versions of him or some shit. So like, you know, there's also that. I don't know. He's Kang, so it's the whole that. Yeah, but like he's all good, just like the whatchamacallit guys. The Mauler twins.
Oh, yeah.
Who, by the way, what were they? Two Smart Hulks, Mr. Sinister, like combination.
I guess
like,
something like that.
Evil Beast, maybe. Like I'm trying to think of like other characters they might kind of fit on.
I love that they're just so fucking smart, though. They're just so goddamn smart. I do really, really love the Mauler twins.
They're great. They're a great concept and idea, and just infinitely fun.
Absolutely.
But what other scenes? Oh, so Mark's mom is drinking with what's her face? The golden
Olga.
or the red blurs. Is that the red blurs?
Red Rush.
Red Rush's former wife.
A Russian speedster. Yeah.
So that's I think just like a running plot, but we didn't get much else.
Running plot.
What the other plots that are kind of going on with this? Was there much else? Oh, Mark and Sheer dating. I thought that part was lagging.
Mark and Amber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're going to college together at upstate New York, which I guess is supposed to be Syracuse, but they can't use Syracuse. So.
I mean, there was.
Isn't that where this robot dude was?
Yeah, that guy that they had fought in season 1.
So yeah, he's like, is he working for Cecil yet?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
okay,
season 1.
Because
because those weird half-dead soldiers he made were fighting Omni-Man.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. Did he die or anything? I don't know.
He's in custody.
I'm sure he's around.
Yeah,
I believe that guy's alive.
Since chilling.
Yeah, he's chilling in custody. Probably gonna wheel him back out when they want to make some more zombie soldiers that can't feel pain.
I mean, you have a name. I forget what it is.
You need those.
Yeah, obviously you need those.
So, oh man, there's so many good characters that haven't even been introduced. Like, who the fuck is a dinosaur? Like, there's a fucking dinosaur.
Is there a dinosaur?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
One of my favorite characters.
What type of dinosaur?
Like a T-Rex. Pretty sure it's T-Rex.
Cool.
Not a Therizinosaurus.
That's a weird dinosaur.
I was just trying to go for a deep cut. It was the first deep cut I could think of.
It's a pretty deep cut, man.
Is it like a big thorax?
He's kind of chubby. He's got a little bit of a beer belly. He's got
thorax.
Yeah, he's not a bug.
He's not an insect. I was trying to be smart.
They got real long nails. This isn't a dinosaur podcast.
Listen, if you want to know more about dinosaurs,
Yeah.
stay tuned for
What's the name of our dinosaur
Invincible.
podcast?
Dinobits.
Dino Bits is pretty good. The
Can we
podcastic
do a-
period.
I was gonna
that's
say,
not bad.
can we try to incorporate a period in there?
I think Jeff downed it.
The
Yeah,
podcastic period.
I'll take
Or
it.
the
I'll take it.
podcastic era.
I'll take it. I'm just nitpicking now. I'm trying to be too
Podcastic Park.
podcast. Well, that's
Welcome
yeah.
to podcastic. We can probably pay him to
Podcastic Park
record that
is
for us.
frightening in the dark.
I could probably get
Dinosaur.
a cameo of Jeff Goldblum saying "Welcome to Podcastic Park" for us for like $100 or whatever he charges for those things.
Welcome.
Troy, what stood out to you in this season 2 opener?
Nothing. It's
Nothing
pretty
at all,
boring.
huh?
No.
All right, well that's our show, everyone.
That's our show.
No. Like I said, the
That was TB&J podcast.
the intro. I mean, we are certainly getting we would definitely get like evil Mark versus normal Mark eventually. We are getting multiversal stuff as this whole thing, which is funny because everybody keeps talking about how like kind of oversaturated multiverse stuff is in all superhero stuff, and I went into this agreeing. And I'm just like, oh yeah, but Invincible's allowed to do it. It's okay if Invincible does it.
Invincible's different because there's one guy who can open portals.
Sure, yeah,
it's not
but
like
there-
some bullshit science that anybody could do to travel through time and space.
I mean, you can.
There's no Pym
That's
particles.
There's like 4 characters that you could probably say could.
Even
figure
so,
it out.
that's more than one.
Sure.
There's a guy who can do it, and that's crazy, unique, and special.
Yeah.
At least so far, until
Iron Man-
Cecil dissects it.
Iron Man built time travel for everyone.
No,
Like, so-
well, yes. I was just
He's
saying.
got a
There's
point.
like there's,
He's
a,
like, all
there's
right,
a few characters.
If I die, don't use it again.
Now,
okay.
what do you think the odds are that that he gets another portal and we get like a good altruistic Omni-Man through it, and we get Omni-Man back helping Earth, and they do like a Rick and Morty where Omni-Man comes in and replaces the old Omni-Man?
I don't think that's gonna. You mean you play around with the concept of it. I don't know if that many of
If
them
there's
stick
infinite
around.
dimensions and infinite possibilities.
Yeah.
Even though, allegedly, according to Angstrom so far, in most dimensions, Mark teams up with Omni-Man to take over Earth.
Mhm.
So the assumption, I guess, is that Omni-Man's vision in the Viltrum Empire is unshaken
So
and
I don't-
cannot be broken.
I don't know if I need an explanation or if I care at all, actually. I kind of would like to see what convinced this that Mark to actually join him, because I feel like 1,000 opportunities in that first season. The way it's pitched, I don't know if this Omni-Man's just really bad at pitching things. I feel like there's not one where I'd be like, oh yeah, you don't sound completely unhinged and insane.
I mean, it could be that. It could just be like, I love you, Dad. I'll help you.
Sure.
I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to pretend.
And
to
again,
understand.
like I said, don't know if I even care or need it at all. I would be interested to see what the pitch is in that universe. And
Yeah.
I lost your thread. What universe?
So
in the first one with the bad Omni-Man.
yeah,
and the bad
Angstrom was saying that in most dimensions,
Oh,
Invincible
wanna-
teams up with Omni-Man to take over Earth. Troy was saying they wanted to know what that sales pitch is like. That Omni-Man
the one that
delivered to
makes Mark actually do it.
I mean, my assumption was the sales pitch doesn't change. It's just Mark that changes.
I think it's
so. It'd be
yeah.
the same thing that we saw in
Right.
episode 9 of season 1. It's just
I think it's
Mark
just-
said yes instead of no.
I think it. Yeah, it's. Yeah, I mean, who knows?
That's
I
my
mean,
opinion.
Yeah, no, like I said, doesn't really actually matter to me.
No, I mean, to the point, I think the truth is that if you go with alternate worlds theory and butterfly effect and all these different kind of like theories on it, you would say that like any number of factors, any infinite number of factors, could alter his decision making in those moments, which would then compounded, which is just determinism in and of itself, which is, if you haven't listened to this podcast, what I definitely agree with. But like, it doesn't mean that we don't have to live like, our actual consciousness and emotions in the moment. minute to minute. So you
Sure,
tend to try
sure.
to, live a life that actually you can live with yourself because you're going to perceive it the same way. So
No, I'm gonna let this destroy me. Actually,
right. So it's like, but yeah, I mean, this is the thing where you can. It's the question of like if you ask, if you give people a survey and you ask questions about immigration and they are in a dirty, dingy room with hot, no air conditioner, and they're sweating, they will be more inclined to like be more conservative on that sense. And if you put them in a nice, clean, like conditioned room, they would be less concerned. Like they statistically
that's
proven
why I went to vote.
show them differently. Right.
I went to vote today, and they were shocking me with cattle prods the entire time.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but like just to say that like those things, but then we justify our reasons afterwards. So it's like, and then it's like, well, I did that because I feel this way about it, and then you tell yourself, and you just perpetuate like
Yeah.
everything you are, like you decided. It's just like continuations of it, but it doesn't mean that like I don't know what it means, but I just keep on going away, going about my business fine.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Just,
yeah.
I was just say like I still don't want to kill anybody or nothing.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
so, like,
It's there's an old Penn Jillette quote of
That
like,
was weird. Why'd you wink at the end of that? Why'd you wink after you said
no,
that?
it's just nervous tick.
There's
Huh,
an old Penn
interesting.
Jillette quote where he says, "I have raped and murdered everyone I want to in the world, and that number is 0."
Exactly.
Yeah. Because people ask him all the time, if you don't believe in God, what's to stop you from raping and murdering people? And he's like, well, I don't do it because I'm a good fucking person. Why do you want to rape and murder people? And it's always
What's
it's
stopping you? Like
always morality.
I just kind of don't want. I want to
Don't
go
want
home
it?
and
Yeah, I
wanna
just
go.
don't
play
want to.
Xbox.
that
maybe.
seems.
It's
like,
Penn. He'd go home
well,
and
I
juggle.
wouldn't want it done to me, so I.
Yeah, sure. It's kind of being a good human being.
Because I would be screaming, doing it as much as they were. Because I'd be like, "What is happening? Why is this happening?
It's kind of gross.
What am I doing? I don't know. What are you doing?" That'd be a horrible. It's a hilarious hijinks scenario until.
So you wake up covered in blood and you finally gain control of your facilities. You're like, I gotta call the police
Why
on
are
myself.
you doing this? I don't know. You're just crying.
Troy, what is your prediction for the rest of this season? Give me one solid prediction.
One solid prediction. I'm gonna.
It could be super left field if you want it to be. It could be something
I
you
want
think
it to
will
be
happen.
left field is the problem. I can say like, oh, they're gonna do multiverse stuff. I want it to be left field. Pass. Come back to me.
All right, D, what's your big prediction?
The title card would get bloodier.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think that one might get true.
Everybody
that one might
will
come
live
true.
happily ever after, and everything will be fine.
That's a terrible prediction. I don't know if you.
That's not my.
That's very left field. My
I
prediction is
yeah.
I believe that we are going to see at least 2 Invincibles fighting side by side to take down Angstrom, and at least put him in custody by the end of season 2. I think we're gonna get Angstrom's multi-dimensional bullshit is gonna backfire a little bit, and we're gonna get Mark teaming up with Invincible 2 or Omni-Man 2 to take down Angstrom before returning to their own dimension.
I think you're moving away from Angstrom and you're going to small threats that get in the way but lead to something bigger later.
I like. Do you think the dimensional shit is gonna be like forever now, and that's gonna be like the big?
I think Angstrom is just around.
Yeah. Okay.
And like that means that alternate universes are around. Like so don't confuse the fact that like though Angstrom may have a hand in certain storylines, he might not be the focus of various storylines.
Yeah, like Kang in the comics.
Right. So you
He
could
kind of
you could
orchestrated
he
it.
could
Be a
simply like
season 2
his
villain.
his short, one episode show up could lead to alternate dimensions that have nothing to do with Angstrom Levy.
Right.
So it could be like a whole other, it's. I think that's the beauty of the show is like it is a fully developed world with like hundreds of characters. Like when you see some of the splash pages of Invincible.
Oh
With
yeah.
their universe.
There's so fucking
It is
many.
vast,
Dozens
like,
and dozens.
every single one. What's crazy is like every single one of those characters, as zany as they might, like even if it just like looks like a salamander lizard guy from like a Serpent 7, analog team.
Oh, it was the Serpent 6?
The Serpent Society. They have like a distinct personality and like,
Even the fucking throwaway bad guy in season 1 with like the robot mask had like his own entire personality and backstory.
I love that dude. He's actually a whole character.
Yeah. Like even the tiniest throwaway villain is like an actual developed character.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is ever two-dimensional in this world, and it's one of the reasons I think this show is so fucking good.
Yeah, and the cast is amazing. It really is a fully functional comic book come to life, and one of the best kind of deconstructions of that era of writing. If I said like from the Authority, what Warren Ellis was doing in the late 90s to when is Invincible finished by then? Like,
oh, Invincible ran, what the fuck was it, like
probably,
2004 to 2019?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say like, those 20 years, roughly, like is a golden age of kind of like deconstruction.
2003 to 2018. I was close.
I would say that like the deconstruction.
It was really close.
Yeah, I would say that deconstruction era probably started to give way somewhere before that, but like I mean, Invincible starts in 2003, so it's like right in the heart.
Right. Yeah.
Right. 2003. Right?
Yeah, January
it's
2003.
Right in the heart of it, like where that push is going, and it ends there. But it got to benefit from the turns that I think storytelling was doing even then with Bendis and them, and it moved on. But like I assume because I'm not as into. They got really into. I left comics when they started really getting into the parallel universe stuff. Yeah. Like actually, like the way that Invincible handles it is probably the last time they handled it without much like scientific like. Boom! And as soon as you get like into the Marvel incursions and what's his face? I forget the writer, Remender maybe, or one of the other guys.
Possibly.
They're just like, oh yeah, so like I'm gonna explain astrophysics, and like now the X-Men now have like time like powers where they like regenerate it like in the past, like and they redo it, like creating a. It's like this super deep science era. It feels like it's gotten into of like it's like super. It's not even if there was like if the early 2000s were kind of this more deconstruction. You started with kind of gritty stuff, but like then it was a combination of like gritty and also like more realistic. What would it be if they really were around it? So it's more like morally ambiguous, but more grounded, like stuff like that. So they started to get away from like the fantastic, like it's just magic or whatever. So they try to get into the nitty gritty. Now they're at like a hype. I left when it started to get into this hyper focus of explanation, without like.
Well, I think that's an internet thing. Is I think there's a whole lot of like. Sort of Reddit.
No, that's
Twitter
the type.
influence. Mm-hmm.
No, that's a big thing. I mean, these kids they really like just. Stories that just keep going and going in infinite, like when you win at solitaire on your old computer and it like flips, like just like, oh, it just keeps. I'm like, no, it's getting out of control. Like there's no containment to the story, and I'm like, I get it. That's the thing, but I feel like that's just a type of storytelling, and it's like one note, and it's like okay, but. They just seem to enjoy like, continuing to go and continuing to go. I'm like, okay. Oh, all right. And what's good about Invincible is like this story has a legitimate ending. So, it's neat for that to happen.
My more takeaway was like, when you see a 15-minute YouTube video on. Why the one guy in a Star Wars episode doesn't swing his lightsaber slightly to the left that would have actually killed the guy, and you're just like, I don't know, because I don't know, it's a movie, man.
Right.
I think my biggest thing that makes me so excited for this show is that I know the comic is over. Robert Kirkman ended it. It has an actual end. It's not just infinitely going the way Marvel and DC are. So this will hopefully, end in the same ending or a similar ending of the comics, and they have like an arc to follow.
Right. And
It's not just going to keep going, and they're just going to start pulling shit out of their ass as they go.
Right.
It's going to be an actual
No, they're already
story.
faithful to it. They
Yeah.
have a winning formula that they can, and that also includes adjustments. So like it's
Super fucking excited.
So what I wanted to say is that like the more I think about Invincible and what it is right now, and I think about the fact that in 2003, if that's when this really started,
Yep, January.
around right then, I am, in college and very
Smoking weed.
Very collegey, and I remember just thinking like,
I don't
oh,
think
it'd be
D
so
would
Long
cool.
hair,
taken
hacky
any
sack.
So cool if
substances.
I could like write if I got in Hollywood, made like a script like I want like a prime time cartoon, like an adult cartoon.
Okay.
I had this whole concept, this whole thing it was spanning arcs, it was like super big saga, all this stuff, but it definitely culminated with like super powered beings of this nature, like fighting against each other. But it was to, Metallica's S&M, No Leaf Clover, like fucking awesome sequence, probably pretty influenced by Zack Snyder or something at the time, or what would
just
have
like
been
how it would be now. Yeah.
pre influenced by him, because I think you only had like one movie out by then.
Sure.
But yeah, so like I remember just like thinking, like I can't, but like it was such like a pie in the sky like idea to just be like, oh, it'd be so cool to have like a really good, like critically good, like prime time cartoon with like super, like all the stuff I fucking love, and like I'm fucking literally watching it
So what
right
you're
now.
saying is that you kind of made Invincible in a way.
I'm saying I made a vision. No, I'm saying that like no, literally when Kirkman is probably relatively my age or very close. Was already writing this and to making his mark. Like there are people that are on another level and find themselves in a position, and or make their way to this position and to do it. But like this is always like an insight to me. Like I'm like, where are people? Like there's people that are like fuck, they're gonna make movies about. There's people that are gonna be like, and you figure that like, probably not. Like Robert Kirkman's not gonna get a movie made out of him, but he's still fucking awesome. Like, there's people that are that level of like in the zone or do creation and art, but like. And they're not even at the like, we're gonna make a biopic of you. Like, think about like those dudes, like the Oppenheimers, the Barbies. I'm just kidding.
I mean,
I can't believe that Barbie did all that stuff. Actually,
yeah, she was a lawyer.
it was pretty fucking
She was
wild,
a
yeah.
fashion consultant.
Unreal. How?
Yeah.
Where did she find the time?
Also,
So much time.
every race. Also,
All right. Does that conclude episode 1?
It better.
Fantastic. Troy, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How does Omni-Man play in Mortal Kombat?
not out yet.
It is. Oh, does it come out
9th.
the 9th?
Yeah.
So Thursday.
Every trailer makes him look cool as fuck, though.
D, I don't know if you know this.
I know it.
Okay. Mortal Kombat 1. Omni-Man's coming, and you can play as him.
In 2 days.
Isn't Homelander too?
Homelander will be
Homelander
eventually,
and
yeah.
Peacemaker.
Oh, so okay. Should we do for our listeners anxiously waiting for the next episode?
You wanna do
What
a
are we gonna do?
YouTube video? You wanna
No,
record some gameplay?
we need to do at some point. Maybe next week we'll do a quick before we do Invincible again. Maybe like we do a Gen V retrospective.
Oh
for
yeah.
We have a lot that we just
Gen,
fucking
do you have you guys watched this?
I
I saw the first
watched
episode.
It is mandatory watching for the
One,
boys.
you watched one, motherfucker. You were on a plane.
Dude,
I
you're the worst.
downloaded
You're the
it.
worst.
I flew to
Listen,
Orlando. It was like an hour and a half.
I think it's mandatory watching for the boys.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's mandatory watching for the boys.
All right, it's on my list.
I watched
I'll
about
make it
half
happen.
of it. I have not seen all of it.
I think it's really well done. It has ties to it. I'm not like. I mean, you can obviously get like a snippet, but I think there's going to be multiple characters that transfer over. So.
All right, all right.
Oh, I never answered your question of my prediction.
And that's all the time we have for today.
All right, so it's
I
been a
think
great
we're gonna see
episode.
Alan
and
the
I've been
alien's
Jeff.
dick.
You've been
I
Troy.
think
oh my
Alan the
God, we did
alien's
not.
dick
No
will-
one needed to. You just cut out. Start the music.
Huh? What are you talking about?
This is how we end every episode.
Yeah, we're gonna see
We
Alan
cut-
the alien's dick.
Listen.
Seth Rogen
Oh
is
my-
gonna talk about his dick in the episode, his big one eye, and he's gonna make a joke about
I
his
have
other
one
big
eye.
one eye.
No. He's Seth Rogen. He's not, the other guy.
Huh?
The Seth Rogen's comedy partner.
Joe? Joe
No.
Rogan.
Am I too late for the episode?
Oh,
It's the
no!
episode here. Oh, listen. Listen.
It's been a while,
I'm John
yeah.
Mulaney, and I'm in the next episode of Invincible, and then I'll be here on the TB&J podcast.
Oh my God, John Mulaney as a superhero. Ah! Where's the end recording? There it is.